Hello and welcome to Cinema Sitdown. I'm your host Nikolai, and I'm joined by a couple of my guests. Let's start on this side and introduce yourself real quick.
I'm Madeline Otero.
Hi, I'm Isaiah Townley.
I'm Nolan Baker.
I'm Andrew Zellner.
And we reviewed the movie Major League, but we'll get into the review right after this. Roll the intro. So like I said in the intro, we're going to be reviewing the movie Major League, which was made in 1989. So first question of the day is, what about the movie did you guys like about it?
I liked the comedy the best. Honestly, I liked the physical comedy. Billy Hayes was definitely my favorite, and all his little dance moves. I also loved the commenters and the radio host, I guess, and when they showed the outside perspective of the other people, it felt like it added a nice dimension to the baseballness. And it also showed how much progression they made. So I really liked that. I also thought they were funny. So
Yeah, well, you mentioned before we started that the coach is kind of inspired by a real guy. He was probably one of my favorite parts. I kind of like the trope of the gruff but caring coach, leader type of thing. So I really liked him, and yeah, I mean, I really did like how you could feel a little bit of a sense of the world. It kind of did that Truman Show cut where you can see people from a bar and working construction. You can see them reacting. Mm-hmm. I really liked that, and I felt at the end I was part of that world because I'm cheering along with all the other people,
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say something similar. I really just liked seeing the Cleveland get hyped about this. It was cool. Yeah, I'm just seeing the fans and everything. That was really nice. I'm not a big baseball fan in real life, but it got me into it. Especially the last game. I was really rooting for them. I have never cared that much about a real baseball game in my life.
Woo, baseball!
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. That's how I'm feeling now. Yeah. You'll never hear me say it again, but woo baseball.
Woo baseball. Yeah, I'm gonna echo some similar things. I like Wesley Snipes' character. I think he was my favorite character out of everyone. I feel like he's a very, very funny comedic actor, and I feel like he should be in more comedies. What are some other things? I also liked, I think Vaughn, Charlie Sheen's character. I think he's an interesting character. I kind of wish the movie focused a little bit more on him because I think he's the most interesting character out of the group.
Mm-hmm. He really changed a lot.
No, yeah.
Wild thing. And then he got his glasses on. It was in Princess Diaries, and they take her glasses off, they put his glasses on, and he became his full potential.
It was so funny when he came out of the gate the first time, and the song is playing, and he just looks like a little, little dork. Yeah,
but it's that's
he was
a
little nerd just coming by.
Yeah,
a lot of good
so
yeah, a lot of good visual gags like that, just kind of peppered throughout.
Yeah, I was reading the IMDb on this movie, and there's some weird trivia nobody would know. And the Maze character didn't actually know how to play baseball. So that's in the movie. There's no shots of him actually throwing a baseball because he doesn't know how to throw a baseball at all. They just told him, "You're gonna be running this whole movie. You're gonna catch and you're gonna run."
He ran like his life depended on it.
It's true.
Yeah.
And he did good.
Yeah.
I've never liked running people run. And always at the end when they were running, it kind of cringes me out. And there's sweat going everywhere, and they're But I enjoyed him running. I was yeah, go.
I like his little move he does at the end where he goes like this. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
I was wondering about that with the other characters too, because whenever they had the speedometer gun, and it was can Charlie Sheen throw a baseball 101 miles an hour? You think?
No,
probably not.
I would have to take a guess.
If he can, then he would have to practice a lot.
Yeah, I don't know how Charlie Sheen was moving with roles like that in '89. But who knows? it was still super fun. Like,
Mm-hmm.
but like you said, watching the run, whenever he comes back onto the field after they take his bed out, and he like just cooks straight through those two guys. He had like a 10-second. They had like a 10-second head start on him, and he just runs straight
He
through
just
him.
goes straight through.
It's so like it was cool to see. But then in the last game when oh man, the main guy, super
Taylor?
vanilla, yeah,
Taylor.
super pretty, like, you know, main guy. He
Yeah.
he's running all that time, and this whole time I'm thinking like, oh, he just hit a home run, but he's just going to first.
No,
It
he's
was
just
like
going
30
for it.
seconds of slow-mo running to get to first. You know, it was a little
Yeah.
anticlimactic, but
Yeah, I like the comedy in it. It's very hilarious for this first, because you see how they develop through a full-on blown season, but you don't see the rest of those games. You just see certain snippets of the games, and it's the hilarious thing ever. It's like seeing how the coach gets behind them, and then how all the players just like flip a switch, and they hate each other at one point, but they love each other at the very next point in the movie. It's like, how do you switch from that so quickly when you really want to rip a guy's brains out and punch him, and now you're cheering on him for getting a great hit kind of thing. It's like, that's very interesting to me.
I really like the end scene with Charlie Sheen and the one dude whose wife like cheats on him because he sucks.
Dorn.
Suzanne.
Yeah.
I thought that was so cool how he's like, just hit a strike, and at the end he hits him, but then he pulls him back up, you know, and they hug. I don't know. I like that. I was kind of imagining
He
that
kinda
in my
deserved
head.
that, though.
He
Yeah,
did,
he did.
really.
Yeah.
He honestly did.
Yeah.
that does bring up my big thing with this movie. It's like 70% just infidelity and the worst relationships ever put to screen, and then like 20% baseball, and the other 10% is just like other stuff. Yes, stalking.
There's just
Other crimes,
What is
breaking
up
and
with
entering.
Taylor?
How did he get in that house when it was empty? How did he get in that house when it was occupied? But how did he get in that house when it was empty?
And Liv was
Who
like
knows?
into it,
Yeah,
like
it's-
a
I know.
scary amount.
Yeah,
Where is
She
the
was like,
self-respect
okay,
from
kiss
anyone?
me, like.
Yeah.
And then she's like, no ring.
What?
Yeah, no.
Obviously, you stuck into my house. I'm not gonna give you a ring
Yeah,
yet.
like she.
No.
Nah, everyone in the movie was kind of.
Yeah.
They made some poor decisions.
Yeah.
But damn, could they play ball?
They could play baseball.
So true.
Yeah.
That's the American way.
American way of playing that kind of baseball.
Yeah. Another little gripe, and then I'm gonna be positive for the rest of this. The first team that they're shown beating, the Detroit Tigers. Come on. I don't care about baseball, but I care about Detroit teams in every sport. Why the Tigers?
You from Detroit or something?
My mom is.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that's
how it goes,
understandable.
Yeah, and come on. You're telling me they're the worst team ever? They're like the Cleveland baseball team. They suck. They're the worst. Last in the league. They're gonna beat Detroit though.
Yeah,
come on.
We
That's,
get it.
I really want to see that script, how it just came out, and I'm like,
Yeah.
they're gonna. Okay, first game is Detroit. They're gonna beat them. Then it's gonna be suck. Oh, they have a good point, and then they keep going bad.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, we're doing more training. Wow, you're so good. It's like, yes, you're risking the body, but you're not gonna get good in that short of time for a game. But
Crazy pacing for their progress. It was
Yeah.
very
Yeah, no.
fast, and I
Yeah.
feel like you didn't get to see as much of it as I wanted to see.
Mhm.
No, yeah, for sure.
yeah,
It was just kind of like every player had their faults until like the very last game,
And then
I
it's
wish
just,
there was
and then
some
they're all
else to it.
gone.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just like it feels like there's not really a solid progression from game to game.
right.
Like I feel like if they like messed up, but then they like get like a big moment in each
game.
each guy gets like a big moment
Yeah.
in like the individual games they show. I
Yeah.
feel like that would go.
But they
Like,
all
a
got
longer
their
way.
big moment
At the end.
At the end.
which was
yeah.
nice, but it kind of felt like it was a lot on top of each other.
Mhm.
Especially because by the point that we got to Billy Hayes, I was like, oh, his big moment's coming up.
Yeah.
Like, you better start running.
Yeah.
I ain't doubting him for a second.
Right.
And he got it, so.
Yeah.
But I did enjoy watching him run, so.
There's a part in the movie where they are just standing on the diamond, and they talk about like, nobody knows who we are, but we're still a Major League Baseball team, and Hayes just slides into home. I'm like,
I
he's
loved
not even
that.
touching the plate.
Doesn't
That,
matter.
I looked at that, and I was
looks
like,
so
Amex
cool.
though.
he still has
Got that card.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, he's like a foot away from the base. If he scooted up a little bit, I would be fine with it. Every time I watch this movie, I find something else that I am like focused on. That one part I watched it. I'm like, that doesn't make sense, but does at certain points. And then when Taylor lies about his knees, I'm like, don't lie to your coach. Your coach is not gonna believe you one bit if you keep lying to him.
Watches you play.
I was gonna say, bro is seeing you fumbling the ball.
He knows your knees are not good. It's like he got better. Taylor got better, but the moment that he excelled was the moment where he just started he's like questioning the coach. He's like, "Are you sure you want to go with this? Because this guy he knows the stats of all his pitchers." I'm like, that is what a catcher does. And I'm like, that is the smartest move by him so far in this movie. So.
Yeah, I really like that ending thing. So I'm gonna mess this up because I don't know baseball, but the ending thing with the catcher guy, I thought was really cool because in my mind I was kind of crafting what was going on because I didn't really know, but it seemed like he was like working together to sort of like fake out whoever was pitching the ball and like bringing his like make him overconfident.
Yeah.
And then is that kind of what was happening with that?
What was happening was both teams were Cleveland, the Indians were giving him signs. His coaches were giving him signs, and he told him, well, this guy's not very good at taking the bunt, so I'm gonna try to do this certain thing. So that's why he did this in the middle of the at bat. He's saying, everything you're telling me, I'm not doing it.
Okay.
I'm swiping it away.
Okay.
And that's when he's like, well, actually, that could be a good idea. So if I psych them out by saying I can take my shot, then they're like, well, he might actually take this shot. But then it's like, well, let's scare him a little bit. Let's get him off his game.
Yeah.
And they did it again. That's making him confident more. And then just taking that bunt is kind of throwing them off like, well, he's lying to us. But it takes time. And then the bat.
Kind of shows the trust between the team.
Yeah.
You know, because they all have to work together.
They have to,
even though they have their own, you know.
yeah, they have their own little spots, but they have that chemistry going. It's like, I know how to do this. Just give me the leeway, and I can figure out something to do.
Yeah, cool.
That's what I was gonna say. Like, it's really cool to show off that it's such a team game, and that's why like every character had their moments so that you could build up to. Because Taylor is kind of like the central main character, but everyone is kind of the main character.
Yeah.
And I think it's really cool to see like his last hit, the one I was talking about where he takes a few hours to get to first base. That wins the game, him getting to first, so that Wesley Snipes' character can get home. And it's just cool like teamwork that like. Because I assumed, like, oh, he's going to get, like, a grand slam. He's going to get a huge home run. But he only got the first, and they still won the game for his team.
Yeah, he does that little bun. He's like,
yeah, for a long time.
It's like, let's go.
Yeah, but the tension.
He would have been thrown out so quick. Yeah.
I loved that scene so much, and I loved this thing, and they're all like,
Call it different
And I was
signs
like,
and all that. So it was like,
Yeah.
the different signs, every time, it's so funny the way that they come up with the signs. They're like, okay, this is the indicator, this is the like, I'm like, you're about to throw your team off by how many indicators you have. I can't even keep up with it, and
They're moving quick.
I play baseball.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't even know what you said, but I know this move and this move. I know this means this, and I'm like, no, that means this in this way. I'm like, I get confused so quickly with
You
that
gotta
movie.
study a little before you watch that scene.
Yeah.
You gotta be prepared.
I could just have a whole notebook full of all of the things. I'm like, be like one of those secret agent guys. Just has those full tactics of all of it.
I'm gonna get a bit negative here because I think this movie's the romance in this movie is just
it's terrible.
It's just bad.
It's bad.
I feel like it ruins the movie. I feel like if the movie was just about the baseball, just about these dudes coming together and saving their team from getting moved. I think that's already a good enough story. I don't think you need all the weird romance stuff. It's like because it feels so I feel like it takes away from the baseball stuff, but then the romance itself is also still super underbaked in like all areas. It's like, why are we focusing on this when we could be just on the perfectly serviceable baseball plot.
Yeah.
It could have been cut.
There's nothing would have happened if it was cut.
Exactly.
It's just it's complete unnecessary.
Who cares about Lynn? She's a librarian and she's dating a rich
Mom's a
guy.
librarian.
She's
Sorry,
no, you have to. She's got the.
No, your mom's cool.
You have to be a
Lynn's
Detroit
not.
sports
Lynn
fan for
has
the rest of your
hair.
life now.
Like her braid
Oh.
is like, and half her hair isn't even in her braid.
It's a
Like,
librarian
what's going
look.
on with that?
That's the
That is
librarian
not the
look.
librarian look.
She's got the Reed license plate. Though. You guys see that on her car? She has the license plate that just says Reed on it.
It was awesome.
That was the best part of those scenes. Is
Honestly,
I got to see that.
she made me the most mad.
Yeah. Well, that
why-
whole
I don't
relationship.
understand what she's
Relationship
doing.
made
Yeah.
everyone mad.
Well, I'm like, you can't
yeah.
just stand up to this creep. You're
Literally.
engaged.
Just-
You're
And
engaged.
she's like,
You're like,
I don't care, kiss me. Like,
Yeah.
you
It's
broke
like, what
into
are we
my house.
doing?
That's so romantic.
Yeah. We're so good at one
I was
thing.
gonna say,
Followed
yeah,
me home, and when he followed her home the first time, and she's like, Taylor, I don't live here. Ha 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 ha. Call the police.
Call the police.
Call the police, please.
Well, in 80s movies, it's romantic when you shock someone.
Yeah, exactly.
That's like
Yeah.
that's like the trope.
Exactly.
Yeah, when you see in someone's house, it's like, oh, he's actually trying.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. He cheated on me, but he's so sorry. But he's not sorry. He made a joke about
He
it.
read Moby
He's
Dick,
not.
guys.
Yeah,
He
read the
He
comic.
read He did not read the book.
He did.
He read like the abridged version of it in a comic, basically.
Read the Sparks Notes and saved his relationship.
It's crazy.
Show me
dude.
baseball.
That's what I'm.
So-
I'm here for
Yeah,
baseball.
yeah,
I'm not here for romance. And
No.
also like the weird thing with like Vaughn and like the other dude's wife. Like, why is that? Why is that even? It's
Why
like
is that in this movie?
It's like kind of funny because it's
Yeah.
like, oh, I didn't know, and like, okay, that's kind of funny, but like, why? It feels
Yeah.
like it's
Yeah.
like a last second
Yeah.
thing too. It's like,
Yeah.
but why?
I didn't like that they didn't bring it back up.
Well, no, it's
And
like,
why?
yeah.
Was,
Yeah.
Like he punched him, whatever. Okay.
but like
That's fine.
that could be for
Acting like
anything.
that's his fault. He didn't know who she was.
I was gonna say he didn't know. He was just like,
she
oh yeah,
played
she's
him. She did
yeah.
that on purpose. She was
She-
getting her little
I
revenge.
was
And
gonna
I
say
was
that's
kind of
what it
like,
was.
okay, diva, but also like, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
So if you guys were able to like pitch an idea to the director of this movie, what would your pitch be to how to improve this movie if you could?
Get rid
No
of the romance
romance.
entirely.
No.
Just cut it out. It doesn't need to be there. You got a perfectly fine baseball movie otherwise.
Okay. Is that,
I would take all that bloat out and give it to some of the other characters. Like Wesley Snipes should have gotten way more screen time. A lot of the other characters, like they gave so much like boring depth to some of these characters and made a lot of the other people really just flat kind of stereotypes.
yeah.
And I really felt like they could have evened it out a little bit and give everyone a little bit more depth and more personality, a little bit more of an arc as you go along. Even
Yeah.
like show them training or something like that. Show them going out to like, dinner or something like that, like they did in the
Or like
beginning.
yeah. Or
More
like,
team scenes.
yeah,
you
like
know?
out in the community, like
Yeah,
building that
so
community.
that would be my big things. Get that out, give it to the other characters.
Yeah.
I feel bad because I have quite the bone to pick with this movie, and it has to do with the stereotypes. Like, first
yeah,
off, we're going to talk
it's
about
Toronto.
they're the Indians, and then I don't even need to talk about it. Like, we all know that.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
one.
definitely
But then
Product-
Serrano
product of
is
its
like,
time, for sure.
That's actually what I was going
I don't know
with
about that one.
Serrano, because I got very excited when they're like, oh, he's Cuban. Especially he's an Afro-Cuban, and I'm Afro-Cuban, so I was like, oh my gosh, you don't usually see this. And then like, oh, he's does voodoo, and I'm like, okay, maybe
That's
they
concerning.
just didn't know. And then the whole time I'm watching this, and I'm like, this is so disrespectful.
Yeah,
Because
no.
voodoo is its own religion.
It is an
But
actual religion.
also,
Yeah.
the religion that he was most likely would participate in was Santeria, and a lot of the altars and stuff that he had on his altars, and the pearls and the there was like a little rock thing, and his stuff that he was offering to his fake voodoo god were taken from Santeria and their culture.
Yeah.
And they could have easily brought that in and done it in a respectful way. And then they're forcing this horrible accent on him that's like overpronounced, and you're supposed to laugh at it.
Yeah.
When it's really not that funny. So
No,
I just, this
it's
whole
not.
time, I was like, I was flinching, and I was like,
Yeah.
No.
so
for sure.
Oh my god! Because the beginning was like, okay, maybe they're not trying to, and then
But
the more
then
I
they
picked
really
up,
do
I
it.
was like,
Yeah.
They were.
They
Yeah.
move
And
it
wh-
over.
Yeah. And what's the end of his arc is him saying "F you" to
that
his
was
religion.
the thing that got me.
That was the
most
arc.
I was gonna say,
That
it's
was
like
the-
mad.
Yeah.
The top of the arc, and it came
He
down.
said
Yeah.
he cursed out his own god, his fake god.
Right.
And we're supposed to. That's the.
We're
end
supposed
of
to
his
root
arc.
for
We're
it.
supposed to
Yeah.
it's a
root
bit like,
for
oh
it.
yeah, he's
So
he's going-
converted.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think there's
he's
a lot
converted
of
over.
valid criticism you could give this movie, and
There's a
considering when it was made and when it was written, and really think critically about how people were thinking about these people during that
Yeah.
time. I'm sure there's someone online who has probably given this a lot of thought,
Probably.
which it deserves.
Yeah.
It just sucks because it's not something that you see very often.
No.
Right.
Especially in this
You
type
don't
of
really
movie.
see a lot of Cuban representation or Santeria at all.
Right.
And so to see that they're putting such a negative stereotype on it, and also continuing this negative stereotype of voodoo in general, like it just hurt my heart a little bit.
Yeah, no.
I was
Okay,
like,
so
alright.
we're about to wrap up, but give me your last couple thoughts of the movie. Like, rate it on 1 to 10.
I don't really like sports. I give it a 6.
Okay.
I love Wesley Snipes. If they'd given Wesley Snipes more stuff, I probably could have bumped it. But honestly, I feel like it's still structured mostly well, except for the romance scenes. So I'm gonna give it like maybe like 4.5 to like a 5 for me,
Okay.
which is like an average kind of score.
Racist, sexist, and weird. Go Tigers. 4 out of 10.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 4. That's what I'm feeling.
Okay, but now I feel like I can give it a 5. That's what I
It's
want.
okay.
I felt
It's okay.
You can
bad.
swap.
It's okay.
I give it a 5.
This probably made it drop because you guys have made very good points.
That's fair.
Mine has dropped to like in 8.5, but that's just me saying it. But I like it because it's baseball. But last comment, rest in peace, Bob Uecker, who was the best announcer, and kind of an average ball player. But man, rest in peace, Bob Uecker. This goes out. This is in honor to you. Go Indians.
Woo,
And
baseball.
we're
Baseball.
Baseball.
We're baseball.
Bye.